What is up? What is up, Whale family? And welcome to Blockchain Beats, where we explore the pioneering artists taking audio and music to the next level of emerging tech and interactivity with NFTs. Our very special guest today is Harrison First. Based in Stockholm by way of New York, Harrison First makes waves marrying East Coast boom-bap to international dance and other flavors while setting precedents on the blockchain along the way. Harrison First, my man, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Nytmare. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
I'm pretty hyped to have you on here. I know that you visited and had an interview with Whale about 6 months ago, but as we all know, in this space, in NFTs and in crypto and all that, 6 months is a lifetime. So a lot has gone on between then and now.
Exactly, man. I mean,
go ahead.
No, I said like every day this thing changes. I was thinking about it last week. I was like, damn, this is the fastest moving space that I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a ton of influx of interest in mainstream media and NFTs. You were one of the first to really do it, putting things down with releasing audio NFTs and also social tokens for that matter. And we're seeing a lot of mainstream artists and labels trying to make their way into it. So I wanted to make sure we spent some time with you to talk about someone that's been there since the beginning and really chop it up. So for those of the community here in Whale that didn't have exposure to that first interview a lifetime ago, could you tell us a little bit about you and what your music and what your art is all about?
Of course, man. So during that time when I went and I did my interview with Whale, I was pretty much new to the NFT space and audio, and it was mostly social token space actually. So I was still kind of new, even though I was maybe been like 6 months in. But pretty much about me, I started out as a producer, just only producing, and then I kind of graduated into this like producer artist space, and just kind of taking more control of my artistry. So featuring other artists, more like vocalist on my songs, and me being like the producer artist slash DJ. So I was doing that. Started out in New York, working a lot with an artist named St. John, Janelle Kroll, and Teflon Sega. And then I moved up to Stockholm, and then that's when I met Angie and added her to like my flavor of like music that I was doing. So it was good. That was kind of the vibe. It was, those artists that I was always working with and collaborating with. And then, once I started to dabble into social tokens, I was like, oh, this could be a great way to have my fans get involved and kind of reward them. But then it kind of like it organically did its own thing where I actually tapped into a new market that I wasn't exposed to, which is like the social token crypto world, NFT world. And that's when I kind of like really got obsessed with that. And it was at one point when I was kind of like, I was canceling sessions to do that about 80% of my time, because in the beginning it was really demanding and I loved it, man. And
Right.
I was telling other people the reason why I loved it is because it was the first time I felt like people were appreciating like time and work that I put into creating something. So, I mean, that's like a little snapshot about me. I see you got me up on the screen on there. So
Yeah. I'm showing some visuals because I want to make sure we talk. You got so much dope music. I was trying to piece together some things, and of course, I had asked you what are some things to highlight. And then, my mission was to grab a couple of other songs to put in between the things you recommended. And I was like, man, how can I choose? Your catalog's ridiculous. You're a humble guy. You casually toss out there you were working with Teflon Sega and St. John, but you're talking about people with millions and millions of streams and followers. To have built that sound is incredible.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. Yeah, those are my guys. Those are like the people that kind of took me and made me a better producer, because it was hard working with them. And if you look at I always mention St. John because when I was working with him, he wasn't at the level he is now, and now he's just like
right,
a star. So
and it's interesting because your sound, like a lot of great artists, it's hard to pin it down to a certain genre or whatever. And you have tens of different influences and different things that you vibe with. But people credit St. John with having that cross genre appeal of having different sounds that have melded together. And obviously you were a big influence in helping shape that, or you work together, right, collectively.
Yeah. In the beginning, I
Yeah.
wasn't influenced. Now, his producer, which is Fallen, he's the man. So,
Yeah.
I always, send ideas to the team. But yeah, it was like that in the beginning.
Well, what I'd like to do is, before we get too deep into this, let everybody have a little listen and have an idea of where you're coming from. So I was thinking we'd throw up Faded. That was probably one of the first tracks that got a lot of traction for you. Is that right?
That was my damn. You did your research, man. That was my first track ever. That was like under the Harrison first. I was like, I'm gonna be my own person now and not be in the shadows. I'm gonna be my own guy, and that was the very first track I put out. So to
All
me,
right.
it's a bit rough, but hey, man, I still love it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'll be good to see the evolution, right? From this, which people still loved, even though you said that was at the beginning. This is kind of like the genesis drop to where you are now. So let's play a little bit of this joint.
January 1st.
Picking up pieces as we go. I don't feel like going down this road. No, no, no. Hey, it ain't fun. Yeah, you give me reason to hold my breath, hold my head, make amends, thinking about what we got in store. No, no. Hey, it could be fun. Glimmering lights, pretty cars passing by, and I'm gone. Faded. The one that think. All I do is clink, clink. Champagne be pouring, clink, clink. Put it on my table, have it. Put it on my table, have it. If I put it on my table, have it. Put it on my table, have it. Yeah. The one that think. All I do is clink, clink. I'll have it. Yeah. I am for the roller coaster life. Hold up, hold up. I'm growing old, but ain't getting any wiser. Growing old, but ain't getting any wiser. No. Glimmering lights, pretty cars passing by, and I'm gone. Faded. The one that think. All I do is clink, clink. Champagne be pouring, pink, pink. Put it on my table, have it. Put it on my table, have it. If I put it on my table, have it. Put it on my table, have it. Yeah. The one that think. All I do is clink, clink. I'll have it. Oh.
Okay, so my neck is gonna hurt by the end of this interview, is what I'm learning right here, because already I got it snapping over here. So that was your first foray out by yourself after being in the background working as a producer, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That was my
So
first.
so so how do you go from that and end up in Sweden?
You mean how did I end up? Well, pretty much how did I end up in Sweden? It
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
like things were going pretty good in New York. It was okay, but yeah, I think I just it wasn't anything bad that happened. I just wanted a little bit more. I just kind of wanted to be seen as something different. So I had some like relationships over here in Sweden. So I kind of did like just I did the leap, and it was like a lot of back and forth. I would stay here for a little bit, then I would go back to New York. Stay here for a little bit, then I would go back to New York, and then once things just started to get a little bit more serious, and I signed a publishing deal out here in Europe. I said maybe Europe is going to be the way for me. It's going to be the place where I kind of call home. So yeah, I just did that leap, bro. I just did it because I was benefiting. I was seeing I was getting blessed here more. So I said, let the blessings keep coming.
Right. It's interesting to me because you're able to blend kind of that East Coast boom bap, almost hip hop R&B esque sounds with a lot of the stuff that's more dance infused, and you do it so well. I can definitely see why uh you know you would be blowing up the way that you are. but you're so humble about it and so low key. So it's, some of the stuff was a bit of discovery for me. Tracks I had heard, but didn't know that they were, stuff that you were doing. It was just stuff I had heard in different playlists and whatnot.
Wow, wow, that's love. That's I appreciate that, man. And yeah, and that's something I need to get better on, and I'm doing is more like the branding, because like when you have these amazing platforms like Spotify, which is like the headquarters is down the street from me, and you have great DSPs like Apple Music and SoundCloud, which I love SoundCloud as well. But the issue now in today's day and age is that a lot of listeners, they might be able to know the title of a song maybe, or they'll know like some words from a song, and they might know the playlist of where they heard the song, but they don't really know the artist, because yeah, bro, with so much music coming out, it's just you know the song from a playlist, but it's still a blessing to that people might know the music, even though they might not know who I am. But that's something it's going to get fixed. It's got to
Yeah,
work.
yeah, no, it's definitely changing, right? You can see these listeners numbers up here that we're posting. Yeah, 3 million streams over the past year. I'm sure that number's up now because this was from about 4 months ago.
More.
Um, over, almost 600,000 listeners a month. So monster numbers and growing. How would you characterize, people curate these playlists personally. How would you characterize your sound for what they're choosing?
that that's gotten even more complicated, this new year and a little bit of the end of 2020, because like I really do like to do multiple genres, like you maybe a Pharrell or Diplo or Carnage, like produce and DJ Snake, producer DJs like that, where you or Marshmello, they dip into different genres constantly. So for me, I kind of just categorize it based off of the moment and the vibe that I'm going for within that specific thing. So now, like, I really started from like alternative R&B, and then doing like these like hype trappy type of releases. Um, and then my recent release with Quintino, who's like an amazing DJ producer from Amsterdam. That is like purely like dance music, but mixed in with these like urban vocal melodies. So I would say my primary right now, I would say the primary is going to be, rap genre, dance infused with like urban elements. And I mean, people know that I work with Angie a lot. That's my most recent like constant collaborator. That'll be, oddly enough, it's going to be like an indie rock type of album, bro. So I'm like all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely do a lot of experimentation, especially with her. Why don't we get into some of that to let people understand what we're referencing here? I'm gonna throw up the Quintino track real quick, and then after that, let's check out how that juxtaposes with your stuff with Angie.
Perfect.
Tell me where I gotta be. Oh, yeah. I'll be on the way, let a nigga sport, yeah. And if you want me, oh, yeah. I'll be on the scene up in East Harlem. Bad bees in Harlem. And they won't stop calling. And they won't stop calling. Bad bees in Harlem. And now your nigga got a problem. And all these niggas got a problem. Bad bees in Harlem. Bad bees in Harlem. Yeah, tell me what you want, give me something. Cause what you giving me saying nothing. I'm tryna pay you something. So baby, slow it down. Time just keeping you impatient, I know. If you want it, I be messing with her. I just from around you are the baddest, I know. Your name is Madison, I got the medicine. If you want, let me in. Yeah, we could make a movie to relax tonight. Yeah, I ain't tryna live my life to be defined. Yeah, if you really want it, I can make it alright. But I be pushing paper and sticking my time. Tell me where I gotta be. Oh, yeah. be on the way, let a nigga sport, yeah. And if you want me, oh yeah, I'll be on the scene up in East Scotland. Happy's in Holland, and I won't stop calling. And I won't stop calling. Happy's in Holland, and now your nigga got a problem. And all these niggas got a problem. Bad bees in Holland. Harlem, Harlem. Yeah, all my niggas in the street. All the niggas in Harlem. Harlem, Harlem. I said no, I'm free. All the niggas in Harlem. Harlem, Harlem. I free. Tell me where I gotta be. Oh, tell me where I gotta be.
That's so sick. I know you had mentioned that things were a little looser there than in the States as far as quarantine goes. So is this banging in the club yet or what?
Oh, bro, no. I don't go to the clubs though.
No. But I'm saying this is something that would open it up. So I just didn't know if they were that loose with the restrictions yet.
Nah. Like still in Sweden, like people are going to like underground clubs.
Yeah.
But I've been scared to go to a club though. I haven't been there. That's the crazy part about it. Like hopefully this summer we can see like the real time results. Hopefully like some little festivals are starting to pop up here and there. So
Right.
We'll see.
Right. When they do, I'm sure that'll get people sweaty and moving. But talking about quarantine, you know, I'm barely even going to a restaurant. I run in and out of Chipotle. That's about all I do. But how has the creative process been impacted for you by, you know, having more time inside and less out, I guess?
Well, I've always been a big component of finding opportunity within like constraints and limitations. I never really felt like unlimited resources can kind of like contribute to this amazing creative process for someone. But then again, it also, this time has, in the beginning, it was kind of playing on my mind a bit. And then also because I haven't been like working with so many newer artists, that also can, for me, it kind of, it plays tricks on my mind as well. But like, I mean, this time really just opened up my eyes on a new way of creating and a new way of kind of like bringing life to my music without always having to be out and about, you know, because a lot of stuff had to be online. So I was doing like DJ sets in Decentraland, you know, over at the what was London Underground. I do it over there, or what in my own crypto voxels, I was doing DJ sets and sometimes live streams in my Discord, because that kind of helps me just kind of get out of the monotony.
Right.
Angie, most of the time, she's been coming to my apartment, and then we'll record our sessions, and sometimes I'm live streaming it. So at times, just always being in my apartment and doing sessions and going for walks, that kind of plays on my mind. But like I've been saved a little bit by trying to figure out new ways to occupy my mind creatively. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think you know, everybody's found a way to really channel themselves while they're in this situation. So it's cool to see the different manifestations. And one of them, as you mentioned and alluded to, is your work with Angie being kind of a little bit divergent from the stuff that you had done in the past and more experimental.
Yes, man. But that's
So
the craziest story, how we even met and how we even worked.
yeah, let us know.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you guys. So Angie, when I moved to Stockholm, there were a couple people that I was trying to tap into, and you know, I randomly stumbled on Angie's Instagram. As soon as I seen her Instagram, I was like, yo, she looks dope. I mean, she just looks dope. She looks like an artist. I mean, you gotta hear. She's edgy. She just kind of like had everything that I wanted to, you know, that I was looking for in an artist. And then it was just pretty much I was listening to her music, and I was like, oh, you know, the music isn't all the way like my vibe, and it wasn't something that I was like particularly done before. But I said, let me just try it. So I had a session in Stockholm. I literally took the train from the south of Sweden to Stockholm to have this session with somebody else, and that person ended up canceling on me like 9 in the morning. And then out of nowhere, for the first time, I just DM'd her. I don't know Angie at all. Never met her. I just followed her, and I just DM'd her. I said, "Hey, would love to work with you. I had a session in Stockholm, but it canceled." And then she hit me back in 30 minutes and said, "I'll be there. I'll come."
Wow.
From there, like the very first day that we met and we had a session, we created the song Bam Bam. And Bam Bam was the very first song that we released. And it hit, over 1 million streams within less than 6 months. That was our most successful song to date right now. And that was our very first session. And it was just from there, I was like, yo, we got to keep working with each other. So that's when we did our EP. That's when we did our first album, which came out last year. And then now we're working on album 2. So I just managed to find myself within her, like her music genre. And yeah, we've been making it work, man. I've really been like, yeah, it was unexpected. I really didn't even have any plans to continue to work with her. I didn't think I was going to keep working with her, but after that first song, it was like a no-brainer. I was like, we have organic chemistry, creative chemistry, and yeah, it's history now, man. The rest is history, bro. So
Yeah, I'd love for everyone to hear Basic to see the kind of stuff that you're kind of experimenting with. But before I do, I'm just going to play a little bit of Bam Bam here so people can hear this track that you guys came out with. Came out
yeah.
with a bang or with a bam, one or the other.
I could be your baseline, you could be my drum. Only as long as I think that you are fun. Pretty boy, come over here and get your some. Kiss me hard and maybe we could share my gun. Come on, babe, I wanna have a good time. I wanna get you wasted or a little high. Baby, I am yours for a little while, but only for today, cause I'ma stay wild. Soaking wet up in just like a swimming pool. Play it right or I'll leave you in the blue. I ain't wasting time cause I got things to do. You only got tonight, so baby boy, come through. I could be your baseline, you could be my drum. Only as long as I think that you are fun. Pretty boy, come over here and get your some. Kiss me hard and maybe we could share my gum.
That's an infectious track right there.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Angie.
It's funny if you look at the socials, right? There's people like these guys must be a cult. I want to be part of it. They talk about the juxtaposition of her having kind of like this fierce energy and you having this like stoic strength, and that it being kind of mesmerizing to them. So I found that interesting.
Oh wow, people, what they said that in the comments?
Yeah, and comments on different songs of you guys together, especially with his visuals.
Yeah. She's a visual artist. So whenever we do these videos, it's just another level, man. It's another level, especially with her.
Awesome. So let's take a listen to Basic now and see kind of where that progression has gone and what you guys are working on now.
Boy, you be sitting in the back row. Saw you in the shadow trying to get glow. I'll be over here hot like Monroe. You be looking like a fucking free download. You know that I'm icy, I'm so cold. If you fuck up my vibe, I'll go solo. I'm not here to play or go loco, but I'll fuck up the bitch up if I need though. I see how you flex taking photos. You lost my respect making no show. So basic, it's sad you need promo. Not everyone blast like this hoe, bro. You think you could fuck with this body? You think I'm impressed by our money? You wanna be Clyde till my Barney? But all I'm about is the honey. Basic, basic. Chasing the clouds, you an easy knockout. Basic, basic. Honest, no doubt, I'm all you think about. Yeah. Basic, 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 basic. Chasing the clouds, you an easy knockout. I be out here sipping Hennessy. Boy, you got nothing to say to me. You ain't a friend, you an enemy. Hanging around with that bushy weed. Oh, smoke that shit elsewhere you wanna be. Reeking of that creepy energy. I'm thinking, where is your identity? A low life with no life, a parody. Won't let you fuck up my legacy. Your style is so shit, you a felony. So take a step back, there's no chemistry, or you will get shot just like Kennedy. I go hard like a tsunami. I'm pretty, I'm bitchy, I'm shiny. So back the fuck off, you a copy. I only fuck around with the money, money. Basic, you're a basic. Basic, you're a basic. Basic, you're a basic. Chasing the cloud, you an easy knockout. Basic, 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 basic.
Dope, dope, and especially dope to see the juxtaposition of the different styles that you can pull off. So major props to you, my man.
Yo, someone said styling like Lil Nas X. Oh man.
Oh, I think they're talking about the rhinestones and the Cowboys get up.
Okay,
Maybe.
okay, dang, okay, man. I got the Lil Nas X vibes. All right.
So what's the feedback been on this kind of vibe and this direction that you've been going in with Angie?
Well, pretty much. I mean, feedback has been great, to be honest with you. It's just more of a personal thing for me, where now I just really got comfortable with just saying that, oh, that's my, like, I really got comfortable saying that this is another space for me to live in. Before, I was still thinking like, oh, am I 100% comfortable with this space? But I mean, feedback is great. And I look at that from like the organic, kind of like the organic growth of things. I know some things are curated via like playlists and PR companies that we have involved. But when I see like, Apple reaching out because they want to put Bam Bam in a commercial, or when my team at Sony is just like 100% on it and love the work and they want to really pitch the song. And when people kind of just organically come to my page. I mean, Angie has a cult-like fan base. On Instagram, it's only like 32,000 followers, but like everything is real, like 34. It's real engagement, and I've really realized that when she tags me in something, and then her fans just come migrate over to my page. So that's how I know when like the stuff is real, like the growth is real. And as soon as we have like that one that's like really, really gonna go, it's gonna be to the moon from there, man. Angie, Harrison verse, Angie to the moon for that type of
Dope.
stuff.
Super dope. Yeah, we have a lot of artists that come in and we have that question. They'll say, hey, I dropped the link, but I'm not getting much from it. And, to your point, it's about authenticity and people connecting, right? So, like, putting in that work and having that authentic connection, which she does, and is obviously something that you look to foster too by having your own social token and getting involved in that. Can you give us a little background on kind of your splash that you made and what made you make that decision and how it's gone for you? Roll hack aside, we could get to that.
Yeah, roll hack aside, but before I got introduced to it by a friend, a high school friend of mine, and he was always like telling me about it, and at the time I was ignoring it. I was on tour with another artist named Kahlo, and then I was just really just focused on making hits, man. I was trying to make musical hits. That's my job. And he brought this to me, and I was like, bro, I'm not interested. But after like the third time, I just gave up and I said, all right, man, let me try this out. Let me see what this is all about. I reached out to Alex, who was like one of the main people within social tokens, and he was the first person that introduced me to Bradley over at Roll, and then the rest has been history from there. So in the beginning, first was just, I thought it was just like a fan token, a reward system. And that's what we did it with. So in the beginning, like me and Angie's album, anybody who held first was able to go to we did like a live stream where we were premiering the album. And that was very difficult because, people from our target market, they had no idea what social tokens were and crypto. So that migration it had a little bit of friction there. And then I just started just giving it out, just rewarding people for engagement, and that's purely what it was, just a fan token. But then once I started really understanding what this could be and realized that this could be like a kind of like something that has real value to it, real value outside of just a fan token. And then like over the weeks, over the months, over some time, I realized kind of like the potential that it has. So then that's when I kind of I started out with the Discord community, and then token gating that. That's cool and everything, but it still wasn't any real value. So then I started, creating NFTs, and then I started listing some NFTs for first on OpenSea, and that was really cool too. I was like, oh, this is cool, and the value, gets to be embedded in the NFT. But then I was like, how can I take this a step further? I'm really a big component of audio NFTs, and that's like my thing. I'm like the audio NFT guy, and that's what I want to be known as, within this, social token NFT space. And I still have a long way to go. So I said, what can I do even more? And now the premise is biggest premise for value is first audio. And with first audio, it is pretty much, token gated by Mintgate, which is an amazing platform. And anybody who holds 1,000 first, they have access to a library of music originally produced by myself. All music produced by me that you have total access to use within your NFTs. So I said this could be a great way for me to add value to the NFT space by producing original music for people to just tap into. All you need is 1,000 first, and then it unlocks the website. You download the MP3, and then now you can use that MP3 within your audio or with your NFT. So we've had some amazing use cases for this. Roller Dance was one of the biggest ones, who constantly uses it in his NFTs, which we love to see. There are a couple other creators out there who also have been benefiting from that. So like, that's really where I kind of want to, that's where the direction of first is going, pre-hack. So it was good. I was also rewarding people. This was another, I just do like little experiments, bro. So I was doing something where each week I was rewarding my community based off of my performance, with streaming on Spotify. And I was giving away a lot of first. So it was like, if it was 90,000 streams that week on Spotify for my music, I would use an algorithm, and then it would be roughly around 40,000 first that was on weekly distribution for the entire community. And are you able to see the recent one on OpenSea that we have? Maybe I could, the watch.
Is that the gold watch here?
Man, the gold watch, man. So this is one that I did with Crypto Sultan. Man, he's amazing. I've been recently doing stuff with Crypto Sultan, and this watch is the last one. It's a one of one of our forward collection. Like the detail in it is just like, it's not a template. He originally designed it. I did the music for it. And it's just a 24-hour auction that's going on like literally right now. So my collaborators within that, I've been rewarding them with first pre-hack. I've also, like with my NFTs, some of the unlockables have been first. People can get first. So with first and social token, like that's why I said in the beginning, like I love this new space, because as long as you're trying to be innovative, people will like people will get engaged with what you're doing. Like, and that's what I really liked about it. And that's why I feel like First can be like something that I know a lot of people, maybe this year, maybe next year, or in 5 years, I know a lot of more mainstream artists are going to try to tap into this. Because imagine once things open up and I'm back on tour again, it's going to be a thing where, like, hey, I'm in Boston. If you hold, 300 first, you can get on the guest list, to the show. You come to the show and stuff like that, outside of just only stuff, that lives on the internet.
Right.
So it's a lot of different things, man. I really understood it like after like 3 to 5 months, where it was like, okay, man, this is the first time in history where, artists can, I mean, like fans, and not even fans, but I call them shareholders, and my partners now, they get to actually share in the success of me, and we share each other's success. So once I really understood that, I was like, okay, I'm all in with this, man.
Yeah, and I love that you touched on wanting to add value and make it an experience for people to take part in it, because one of the issues is with the money and the attention to NFTs. We're seeing a lot of big players and established artists jump into the space and just finding some way to slap a piece of artwork on a song and try to sell it. And
Right.
that not only, is not great for the scene, but the consumers that we're trying to train, hey, this is the value in it, this is what the possibilities are. You don't want them to have a bad experience. You don't want to turn them off before this thing even takes off. So it's great to have some of the people that were really there putting it down at the beginning, continuing to get out there and spread that message of what this is really about. And I could be wrong, but this watch project, was this done? Did the timing just work out, or was it done in response to the role hack to try to help your community, reestablish itself?
So what we've been doing is that, what we're doing is that we actually have a classic edition, Sultan, Crypto Sultan, and myself. We have a classic edition that we've been putting exclusively on Atomic Hub, for wax. Oh yeah, right there, man. So what we've been doing with that is that some of the proceeds of that, this is also only open. Yeah, this is the last day that it's open. So once this one is gone, this one is going to be gone as well. I think we sold 15. So it's getting pretty good traction. I'm new on Atomic Hub, but it is a trusted. I mean, I think mine is verified, so it is trusted. But essentially, what we're doing is that part of the proceeds are going to go within the ETH, within the first liquidity. And this was an idea I had before I already had my conversation with Bradley, which was last night over at Roll. But as soon as it happened, I was like, yo, man, I'm not giving up, even though I kind of felt like giving up. I was like, damn, I worked hard. But I was like, probably the next day, I was like, all right, cool. Then what can we do to at least try to help bring in liquidity and value? So we said part of the proceeds from our Wax Classic Edition audio NFT watches, we're going to put that into First. So yeah, man, that's what we're doing with those ones. And also people who collect this one, they'll also be able to be eligible for the giveaway of one of our luxury editions, which is on Rarible.
Super dope. And I'm glad that we were able to talk today so the community can see, what's going on, and get in on this if they're interested. It's hard for me to believe that this is an art rendering and not an actual picture. It's so detailed.
People were like, when we did the first one, like we have a silver one, we have a black one, and now this last one is gold. When we did the first one and Rarible retweeted it, people were like, is this a real watch?
Right.
In the future, man. In the future, it could be.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Super dope. And we touched on, other people coming into the space and what that means or what it doesn't. What's your opinion on some of these large players coming in? You had, Kings of Leon claiming that they did the first album that was tokenized. You have the Blau auction that went for millions and millions. What are your thoughts on what's going on right now with the industry and NFTs?
I don't want to sound like a hater. I don't want to sound like a hater at all. Because, if I was Kings of Leon and I was this big artist and I just heard about like NFTs and not fully understanding what it was, but my manager said, hey, just create this. We're going to make it an NFT and we'll say we're the first ones. maybe I would have done the same thing. But if I'll be totally honest with you, I am kind of indifferent. I'm a bit indifferent because not because I want to be recognized as one of the first people in it, because I was not the first one. I wasn't number one. Maybe
Right.
I got started early, and I really did get started earlier than some other people. But I'm a bit indifferent because I know that some people are kind of like just in it for like a cash grab. But if the collectors are seeing value in it and they're buying like the hype beast of it all, then okay, then it's a win-win situation for the collector and the artist. But for me, like right now, I've recently been having some of the people I work with who don't know anything about NFTs, like, hey, have you heard about NFTs, man? Let's do this as an NFT. Let's drop. And I'm kind of like, slow down a little bit, man, because whenever I'm doing these NFTs, I really want it to be creative and like have value. Like for me, I don't I look at audio NFTs as like the music is like the icing on top of the cake. The digital art still has to be like the leading component, and the music has to kind of be like the complementary piece. So that's literally how I kind of look at it, almost as if you're like scoring a movie or scoring a commercial. Sometimes the music is like super heavy in your face, but it has to be like a nice balance. So when I saw like Soldier Boy just do like an NFT and it kind of looked like spray paint art or like some iPhone type of art, and people were going crazy over it, or Mark Cuban and Lindsay Lohan and these types of people, I was like, oh, why does everybody like this stuff? And like, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not hating. Like, I feel like if you find it as a win-win situation, and maybe you can resell as a collector if you want to be able to resell that, later on or whatever. But I don't really see value in it. I see value in like creators like Bebo going mainstream. I was kind of late to him. I didn't really know who he was. I had to have one of my collaborators, Rory Boy, tell me who he was. And like, his art going for millions of dollars. People like collecting that type of stuff or trying to collect my stuff when I'm, early in the game. Like those type of artists. Yeah, man, I would strongly advocate towards those types of people. Just people who put care into it. Like, yeah. And you can see it. But I'm
Right.
indifferent. I'm indifferent.
Yeah,
But I'm
no,
not,
I like that. I especially like the scoring a movie analogy. That's dope. I'm gonna try to cop that one and use it in some of my other interviews because it's kind of poignant. I never looked at it that way. But you're right. There is a balance to be had, right? Because we want to recognize the people that paved the way and people that were working on experimentation. But it also is good to bring new people into the space. So it's up to platforms like Whale, people like Whale Shark, people with voices to get out there and give a voice to those that are adding value and people that have helped establish us along the way. So that's another reason why I'm hyped to have you today. So thank you for sharing that perspective.
thanks, man.
A
Thanks.
funny story, I was on Clubhouse. I don't know if you get on Clubhouse here or there.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's a time sync, so I don't get on it often, but I'll throw it on
Yeah.
in the car. I think I was going to pick up some takeout, and I popped in, and there was a room. It said like AMA with DJ K Slay. I was like, all right, cool. Let me just hop in there, see what they're talking about. Within like 30 seconds, they dragged me onto the stage because people are just so hungry for knowledge for NFT stuff. And in my profile, it says whale, blockchain beats, NFTs, etc. So they're eager to talk about it. Unfortunately, I'm driving and trying to get some pizza, so I had to bow out. But it just goes to show you, what the industry is thinking and where their mindset's at.
Wow, I'm about to put NFT in my bio now, man. Like it's crazy when you think about it, because at first when I first got into it, I was like, oh, this is some special little thing. I wasn't even posting it on my Instagram because people were like, what is this? Like, what is that? And then like now that it's mainstream, it's like, yeah, we should be advertising that a little bit more, I think. But before, I was like, it's a special community, special people. I love this community. It's like friendly people that I've been working with. I've been lucky to work with friendly people.
Right.
But now it's getting a bit complicated.
Yeah. That's a simplistic way to say it, a nice way to say it, right?
No, but
Complicated.
especially with music, man. Especially with music and like these mainstream artists and labels trying to get involved, because now I'm getting questions like, who owns this? What are the shares? Like, are there royalties? Do I have to talk to my label? Am I allowed to do this with my publishing? Like, all these things that I wasn't thinking about before, but
Right.
now they're trying to tap into this market. It's scary because in 2 or 3 years you're going to see labels work NFTs into the contract saying that, we own this share of any NFTs that are going to be put out. And
Right.
that can be unfortunate, man, and kind of scary if they do try to embed that in musicians who are doing audio NFTs.
We've already heard of some labels calling people to the table and trying to make amendments and and take a look at that. So they're learning they're learning quick. But in that vein, a lot of people talk about NFTs and audio NFTs as a possible way to re-empower the artists to take more control of their finances through things like audio NFTs and platforms like Audius, as opposed to what some of the streaming platforms have to do because of their business model. What are your thoughts on that as far as an empowerment vehicle?
Absolutely, I feel like it's NFTs. I don't even do people refer to NFTs with music in it as audio NFTs anymore? Because I feel like mainstream platforms would just call everything NFTs.
They don't, but I like to make the distinction only in that, sometimes say I have an amazing musician like yourself. I want it to be known that the music is the forefront, right? That's the
Yeah,
thing that has the most intrinsic value to me. Of
yeah,
course, there's collaborations happening with amazing visual artists and amazing musicians at the same time, but I want to make sure that the musicians get their due and that art is valued in the same way. So I make the distinction. I do think in general, mainstream media is just calling everything NFTs because that's just what's hot.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So audio NFT, I feel like it has empowered the artists. Like we all know it. Like there's creators in here right now. They know that whether they're from New York or they're from Iran or Germany or Stockholm, like this has been a way for people to really get respect for their art. Like I've always seen so many dope digital artists throughout my time, like whether I'm on Instagram or Pinterest or whatever. And then just imagine like now like these creators are actually able to benefit from amazing digital art, and then even be even more creative with NFTs where you know they NFT their time, or NFT advice, or NFT like selfies and things like that. Like this has been a way for artists, especially music artists, to be empowered, because now you're not only relying on it is like before streaming came into play, you would rely on tours, you would rely on the actual physical sales, which there's more money within physical sales. And yeah, those are the things, appearances and things like that. And then over time, it's gravitated to literally just shows, sync placements, and streaming. And streaming is great and all, but it is in a significant fraction less than physical sales. So then, as a musician, you're like, okay, what else can I actually have for myself that's separate from a label taking from you? And now like audio NFTs is that thing, and it's like a really kind of it is a reliable source of being benefiting from your art. So it does empower us, and I like to see it, man. I love to see it, and I feel like you know these amazing digital artists or musicians, like they deserve the credit for all this great work that they're doing. And this is a revolution, because we'll look at this like 5-10 years from now, and people are going to be like studying this time period, and people are going to be like wondering like, well, where the hell was I at doing this? Like, well, I wish I knew about it then. And it's going to be such a cool thing for artists and digital creators to be like, well, I was a part of this time.
Right. I think that there's a different investment from people necessary for audio, right? Because you can just scroll real quickly and glance and see something visually that catches your eye. Audio requires a little bit more time to sit there and listen. So, that's one of the challenges I'm sure that you're trying to experiment with and juxtapose to figure how can I maximize the amount of ears that I get with what I'm doing.
Well, I mean, in a sense, like in it, like I have something. I don't. Well, I can talk about it. I have something really cool and creative coming up with SoundCloud that I'm doing with another artist named Marley Waters, and then obviously we also have Crypto Sultan involved because he's a genius. So we have something we're releasing like a 2-song project, right? So we're releasing a 2-song project, and then we're dropping an NFT with that. But the NFT is going to be a 3 of 3 NFT, 3 copies, but one is going to be reserved for a giveaway. And the way that get entered into this giveaway is that you have to listen to both songs, and we're going to be saying something with a coded message in the song, and you have to guess that coded message, and then you'll get the giveaway, which is the audio NFT. And the audio NFT, it isn't the full song in that audio NFT, because I tried to do that, but I don't think that NFTs is the space to put in full songs yet. Like, I really don't feel like it's the space to put in full songs at the moment. I believe it's a space to kind of, like I said, the icing on the cake. So putting in a little bit of an instrumental from the song, and then it's going to have an unlockable, which is the actual full music. So I'm kind of looking at it as like audio NFTs will be the music in audio NFTs. Like if you're doing full songs, so like Kings of Leon, if you're doing full songs, it's almost looked at as like the vinyl. And I have this 1 of 1 or maybe 3 of 3 vinyl that's nowhere else in this world, in the world type of thing. So yeah, I mean, we are trying to get more ears on the music, but I don't know if NFTs is one driving force to draw people back to the music. But for me, it personally is not like it's not the goal for me. That's not the goal.
Dope. Love to hear your perspective as someone that's experimented with it for so long. You mentioned SoundCloud, and this was one of the tracks that you thought would be great to highlight. And this is from the I Am Other collective, right? One of Pharrell's projects. And I believe this was to highlight artists that are talking about social issues and making a difference through their music. If you want to set this up, would love to play this for the group.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks. So this was a part of Pharrell's initiative, I Am Other, and he did a collaboration with SoundCloud, and they chose, I think it's 10 of us, 10 artists, and it's geared towards social injustice, songs geared towards social injustice, inequality, and police brutality, things like that. So that was like an amazing blessing and honor to be a part of this project, because I mean, there's like 3 producers and artists that I look up to within this industry, and that's Pharrell, P. Diddy, and Kanye West, and also Swiss Beats and Timbaland. Sorry, 5. So when like something like this happened and I'm involved with a project with Pharrell, I mean, I just said yes when they approached me about it. So this specific song was with Marley Waters, and we did a collaboration. Yeah, and the song is really about social injustice and minorities, mostly Black males and women being affected by things in America and all over the world. And the song is it's a true reflection of the times that we're currently living in right now. So I'm proud of this song. This is also something I've never done before, this style of music, and I never thought to bring this conscious music, conscious lyrics within my music. I've always talked about it and things like that, but this is the first time I've ever brought it into my music. And the cover was literally, I mean, it was something I did also with my partner, and it was like a line drawing, something super simple. We created that as an NFT. I rarely do something like that where I just do a cover, but someone loved it, so we did that as an NFT.
Dope. Let's listen to a little bit of this, and then I'd love to get some of these community questions to you. So here is Against the Wall.
January 1st.
Ain't no freedom in my mind, I need a way out. Sick and tired of sitting on our hands, watching play out. Hashtagging Black Lives, black bodies laid out. Cops kill a nigga, get promoted, better payouts. One too many kings killed by the chrome. Send your baby off, she might never make it home. Pressures from the system trying to tamper with my soul. Suffer on these streets, blood stains on the road. Malcolm's pain in the music. This right here, a revolution. They're trying to take what's ours, we work so hard for. We can't stop now, we keep pushing. Way too long, had our backs against the wall. Back against the wall. Way too long, had our backs against the wall. Way too long, had our backs against the wall. Freedom in my mind, I need a way out. Sick and tired of sitting on our hands, watch it play out. Hashtagging black lives, black bodies laid out. Cops kill a nigga, get promoted, better payouts. One too many kings killed by the chrome. Send your baby off, she might never make it home. Pressures from the system trying to tamper with my soul. Suffer on the streets, blood stains on the road.
Love me or hate me, I live in light. Show me your gun before you choose to read my rights. Want me to run so you can shoot me in the night. I'm not your boy, nigga, you need to get it right.
Malcolm's pain in the music. This right here, a revolution. They're trying to take what's ours, we work so hard for. We can't stop now, we keep pushing. Way too long, had our backs against the wall. Back against the wall. Way too long, had our backs against the wall. Way too long, had our backs against the wall.
So dope and so great to hear, people actually using their platform to get some messaging out and make a statement and try to do some good with it. So
Thank,
props to you for that as well.
thank you.
Usually, man, I'm having a great time. Your music is banging. You have so much to offer, having been in this space and done so much for it. Uh, but unfortunately, I am always the one that runs long, so I have to make sure I control myself here. I could talk to you for hours. I'm gonna have to talk offline a little bit, but I do
Yeah,
have some questions from the audience I want to make sure I get to. Um, Someone asked an interesting one that I really don't know. They said, when you're creating audio NFTs, do you find that there's a different composition that you use for that, for file size and whatnot, based on like how that would correlate to gas and minting and that process?
I don't think the file size affects the gas prices, but that is actually another part where me and the other creators have to kind of be innovative in as well, because certain platforms only allow a certain number of file size, or the maximum number of file size that you'll be able to use. So we use, we'll mint on Rarible, SignArt, OpenSea, um, and now on Atomic Hub, and it's all like, oh man, this size is too big. Now we have to trim the song down a little bit, because we had the loop based off of the timing of the song. So sometimes that is a bit of a tricky part when it comes to file size. And recently I've been trying to stick to things like maybe 1 minute is the max, but I think like 30 seconds and less is like 30 seconds to 20 seconds is a sweet spot for the music. That way you have room for the file size of the digital art as well.
Cool, cool. Someone asked if you see yourself releasing event tickets as NFTs with embeddable content and memorabilia. So getting people from the in-person and live tangible place to the NFT world instead of the inverse.
Sorry, you said what tickets?
Like instead of people buying something digitally and then going to see you live, it's the inverse, right? They get a ticket from seeing you live and there could be an NFT attached or something of that nature.
Oh man, yeah, that's also a dope idea too. And yeah, I would absolutely do something like that. Yeah, get a ticket, you also get first with it, or get a ticket, you get NFT with it. Yeah, that was amazing.
Very cool. We may have to give some credit to the community member, maybe get him a ticket to the next event.
Yeah, man.
Where so obviously we got the auction going on now, right? We got this dope watch that I think it's ending tomorrow, right? And so this is big. This is the primo edition that everybody should be looking out for if they want to make a stake a claim to what you do in your music while things are still early. Where else would you like people to look for you and to check you if they want to, stay in touch and keep tabs on what Harrison First is doing?
Yeah, man. For everything, like I would say Harrison First and Social Money, my Discord is kind of like the primary space for all of that. Just joining the Discord channel. I don't know. Maybe I could put it in your guys' comments on Discord. Um, But usually when it's like mainstream music, I always have that stuff on Harrison First. Instagram, everything is pretty much Harrison First. Twitter, Instagram, so and Spotify. Yeah, so it's all
Super,
Harrison.
super dope. We will link all of your socials, including your Discord and ours, and make sure we send over all of our community that's interested and that want to continue to follow you. So, my man, thank you so much for taking some time this afternoon with us today. Hope you
Thank you.
have an awesome auction and this ends well above the reserve price. And we will be listening for what's coming up next from Harrison First.
Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys around.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.